Hi, ShamaMama. Good evening. Can you hear me? Oh, there
Thank
it is.
you. I was on mute. Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi, Marky.
Hi there.
The Mock family's here. Hey, Ella. And Kaylin. Hello. Hello.
Kaylin is my friend, ShamaMama.
Yay.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for being here.
You want to say that, Kaylin, or do you want me to say it?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to kind of check this out what you guys were doing. I don't have any painting supplies on me, but I have some crafts to do while you're talking.
Cool. Yeah, just craft along with us or doodle or draw or just be inspired for when you do have paints. You don't have to paint while we're painting. Just
Sounds lovely.
Totally welcome to be here.
Totally very nice.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to get started since it's 6 o'clock. I know we're probably going to have some people showing up from time to time here. And I have to remember to let them in the room.
I
A lot of paint. Ooh, look at you.
have to mix up some bread for our baking tomorrow, so I'm going to be listening, but I'm going to be.
Yay. Yay, yay.
We're going to do some mixing.
Cool. Thank you. I know I'm looking forward to that bread. That sounds really yummy. All right, guys. So are you ready to paint some dream catchers? So before we get started, I want to tell you this is a really easy process. So it's just like kind of 4 pretty simple steps. But before we get started, I really wanted to mention dream catchers in general. What are they all about? So think about, what dreams might you want to be catching today while we are painting, going through this process. Dream catchers have been used traditionally for protection, for keeping you protected from bad dreams. So kind of it's about keeping the, the negative away. And also it's sort of a, the net within the dream catcher, within meditation and within shamanism, that's kind of like a net or a web that you travel through to get to a different dimension. And that's all kind of part of meditation and stuff. So there's different meanings for the dream catcher. So tonight, I encourage you guys to really just give some thought to what are the dreams that you want to bring in. So we're going to start just by kind of doing that, by setting our intention and kind of putting a stake in the ground in terms of what dreams we want to be catching today. And before we get started, I wanted to just kind of show you, in terms of dream catchers, all we really need to be able to do is make circles and feathers and ribbons. Those are like little lines. And then just kind of blend color. So it's really super easy. We don't have to be super precise. So this is just one example. You could do a dream catcher with a like leaves for feathers and a flower in the middle. Okay. There's no rules. Let me grab this other one. Hang on, I'm chained. Actually, I got a couple. So here's another one. This is more along the lines of what we're going to be doing tonight. But I'm showing you these because look, like that circle's not even a perfect circle. Because a lot of times people make dream catchers with twigs or branches, thin branches from a tree. So they're traditionally not necessarily super, super precise. Okay. So this is a time where we can just play with color and not have to be super, precise with anything. And this one I wanted to show you because I don't know if you can see it on here. It says change the world. That was one of my dreams that's still on this canvas. So I'm just sharing that with you so that you can do whatever you want to do. This one has little embellishments on it, little rhinestones and things. Okay. So get creative.
Thank you for doing this, ShamaMama.
What's that, honey?
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're so welcome. I like
Exciting.
it.
Yours
Thanks.
is the most artsy but also cohesive home that I've seen. I love your
Oh,
home, and you're so artsy. Love it.
well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's so kind. Hi, Yesenia. That's so nice, Krishna. I really appreciate that. All right, guys. So we're not going to really worry about having perfect circles tonight or perfect feathers, but we're going to start by kind of doodling those things. So, like I said, what are the dreams you want to bring in? So grab a marker, if you have one, or a paint pen, something that you can color with on your canvas. And let's give some thought to your dreams. And we're just going to write those on our canvas. Love everyone. Equality. Ooh, 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 look at that. Equality likes that. Look at all that equality that just oozed out of my pen. That's going to be fun. And during this time, when you're just kind of writing your intention down on the canvas, make sure you guys can see here. You guys speak up if if the sun moves and you can't see me. Let me know, okay? So we're thinking about circles and hoops and ribbons and feathers. I'm going to give you a little tip on feathers. For a feather, all you need is that stem. So whether or not it's super straight or maybe a little bit curved. And then you just kind of go like this and follow the curvature of that line all the way up to the tip. So for feathers, you might have one that's kind of curved. Again, we just kind of follow that curve. So take this time to just sort of play around on your canvas and doodle. We're going to be covering this up, but what we're doing is kind of getting comfortable with that symbol of the circle. And some of these things are going to kind of poke through maybe when we're finished. Does anybody have any questions so far? No, I thought I saw a hand up, but we're good. Okay, great. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see. And as you're laying down your intention, what are your dreams? What do you want to bring into your life? What do you want to see for the world, for other people, for the universe? Just for you, yourself personally, or your family. It's whatever, it's up to you. You may want to make a circle for each dream. And we're just laying down our intention here. We're just doodling. We're just getting comfortable and in our creative zone. So you can do anything you want. You are awesome. Oh no. Oh no, I'm in my thing. Awesome. I think this is right. When I'm in my right brain, I can't spell. All right. I keep seeing those signs around the neighborhood, like those rainbow signs in people's front yards, and it's equality for everybody. Emily just got here. They say human rights, everybody's equal. They say a whole bunch of really neat things on there. Hi, Emily. And those, I thought today, I'm like, those are all the dreams that I want to bring through on my dream catcher. And then I thought, oh gosh, those aren't really dreams, those are more beliefs. But really, beliefs and dreams are kind of the same thing, right? So whatever it is that feels right to you, that you want to welcome into your home, to yourself, Go ahead and just write that down. And Emily, since you just got here, hon, we are just putting our intention down on our canvas. And we're making some feathers, we're making some circles, we're writing words. You know, what do you want to bring in? Look at what Joni just put up, you guys. In this house, we believe Black Lives Matter. Women's rights are human rights. No human is illegal. Science is real. Love is love. And I can't read the bottom. Kindness is everything. Yeah. So that's like what I want my dream catcher to encompass. Thanks for sharing that, you guys. That's exactly the sign I was thinking of too. That's pretty funny. So I'm just sharing that. That's me, right? So you guys put down whatever feels right for you. And so we're just going to take some time and think about that because we have plenty of time for this process. Okay. Okay, so that's the second time that I wrote equality down on my canvas, which is interesting. So that's something to pay attention to if you're drawn to a certain word or whatever. Pay attention to that. It might be a symbol. Tonight, like I said, we're doing feathers. And when we do feathers, you know, they don't always have to be neat. We can have messy feathers. We can have super pristine feathers if we want to. My feathers, I think, are representing freedom and flow. Because you think about dream catchers, you know, they're all about flow and air. And so are feathers. You know, it's very much an air kind of element. And now you guys, if you don't have these paint pens, it's okay to just use a Sharpie, just Sharpie markers or Crayola markers or even crayons, whatever you have. It's all good. You don't have to have anything fancy. And feathers too, they're kind of like leaves. So, you know, if I didn't say, oh gosh, we were going to be making feathers today, you might actually think some of these things might be palm leaves. You know, who knows? They kind of look the same. And I'm going to turn over my canvas. I just want to sort of get a nice vibe going all over it. And I want to focus too on this like flow. That's kind of what happens, like, sorry about my puppies, guys. That's what happens with the ribbons. They're kind of flowing through the air. We need that air to kind of flow and make your dream catcher kind of, you know, I want to say tinkle or twinkle in the wind, but that's so not the right word. All right, so you guys do not have to keep up with me at this point. I'm going to jump ahead to the next stage, but you continue to keep putting down your books. My doggies are not happy. Putting down your intentions, doodling, putting down your circles, your feathers, okay? And then the next step that we're going to do is bring in some color. And I like to often use like flow in my, when I put my color down, just, I usually like to kind of put down, well, I'll show you when I do this, I guess. I like to put down like windy looking shapes, swirls or ripples. But think about it. You know, you can do whatever you want to do. Sorry. You might want to put a pinwheel in the background. Because really what we're doing now is just putting down color And then we're going to put our dream catcher on top of that. So we don't need to worry about the dream catcher or anything at this point. We're just going to play with some color, okay? So I think what I'm going to do tonight is work with a turquoise and a magenta and a dark blue, I think. Now, and depending on the size of your canvas, because we're all probably working with different sizes tonight, I bet. Depending on the size, you can pick out the appropriate size brush. We want to kind of use a brush here that we're going to be able to cover a good portion of our canvas with. So you don't want a teeny, teeny, tiny brush. And like I said, I'm just going to paint flow. Flow and wind. And we're just spreading color. You don't have to copy me. You can if you want to, but it's absolutely not necessary. You guys just have fun with spreading color down on your canvas. And I recommend when you're at this stage that you use maybe like 2 to 3 colors along with some white. So let me get my palette put together. Your palette is the thing that you put your paints on. I'm going to put my palette together here just so you can see how much paint I have and the colors that I'm going to start with. I'm excited to see what Krishna works with because you've had like every color imaginable on your
I got
paint
that at
set.
Ross a while back.
Oh, I like it.
Like $20, and it's like 40 colors. I
Right.
haven't used all of them.
Well, you will someday.
Yeah.
It's like all the colors of the rainbow. All right. So this is kind of what I'm starting with. So I've got kind of a turquoise, a pink, a darker blue, and a white. But you guys do whatever you want to do. Just pick a color combination that you like. And the only thing I would really suggest here is not really going super, super dark. Because we're going to be, you know, putting our dream catchers over this. If you do want to put down super, super dark color, then maybe put down, you know, a white dream catcher at the end. So it's all good. These two colors together remind me of when I was a kid. And at this stage, you want to just get all of the paint that's on your canvas kind of spread around, and all of the paint that's on your brush kind of worked into the canvas before you rinse your brush. Because what that's going to do is kind of make this paint dry out a little bit, because we want this layer to dry, because we're going to put something over the top of it, okay? And it's fun with this to kind of watch the colors blend. See how this turquoise and this magenta sort of turn into this pretty purple. I like that. And then look what happens when we bring in a little bit of white. It just kind of tones everything down. White is pretty essential. It helps give your painting some dimension rather than just using, you know, colors right from the tube, which is fun. But then if you add a little bit of white or another, you know, another color to it, lighter color, then you get all these different tones of that color. And I'm liking this because this is reminding me of sky and clouds, which is that air element I'm kind of vibing with tonight. And notice how I'm just, you know, all these little guys that I put down here, I'm just going to cover them up. And some of them might peek through. You can kind of see that through the paint. So I'm not wanting to cover them up completely. I'm wanting these little guys to peek through like this. Any questions so far? I should have said, if you guys do, for those of you that are on this live call, just unmute yourself and say, hey, Karen, or raise your hand. There's a little doodad, I think, on there that gives you the option of making a little symbol to raise your hand. But, and then for those of you that are watching the replay, you know, just send me an email if you've got questions about anything. And this, what we're doing right here, is very much, this could be very, 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 very zen. This could be a meditation for you. If you really just kind of enjoy putting a little bit of color on your brush and blending it in and, you know, seeing what happens. You can just sort of lose yourself, not worry about the clock or what's going on around you. If you can get that from this process, then that's a good thing. So I'm kind of making these flowy-esque patterns on here, but you guys can do whatever you want. You can make circles, you can make a bunch of bubbles all over, you could make, you know, whatever you want. You can make it all one solid color if you want. That's the best part of this, is we're all going to have very, very, very different paintings when we're finished. Very similar, but very different at the same time. I'm using a brush that's maybe too small. I often will end up doing that. Rubbing your paint into the canvas can be really nice too. It gives you a little bit more depth and shadowing. And you rub it in just like you rub lotion in, you know. Just have fun with it. So I'm using a 16 by 20 canvas. So depending on what sizes you guys are using, you know, if you're using a teeny tiny one.
I have a tiny one.
You have a tiny, I was gonna say, then you're probably like, come on lady, hurry up.
No.
But then if you have a really big one, you know, then you might feel like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. But either way, just know that this is, you know, self-paced. And if you're finished with your first layer and you're waiting on me, just enjoy watching the colors blend and let your canvas dry. So we don't want our paint to get super, super thick at this point. We can do that later when we do our feathers and stuff, but right now we want it to be pretty, you know, pretty dry layers going on here. And I'm making sure that I get the edges of my canvas as well. That gives you a real finished look when you're finished. A finished look when you're finished. Gives you a real kind of polished look when your painting is complete. Right. So if this is a piece of toast and you want butter on every little nook and cranny, even the crust, kind of what we're looking for here. We want to get it all covered with color. I never used my dark blue. Let me get some of that in here. You can take colors and overlap over one another. It's always kind of fun. And you get to do that blending. And at this stage, I'm not giving any worry or care to which direction my dream catchers are going to flow. You may know already, and that's good. You may not have a clue, and that's perfectly fine. dream catchers are kind of a, they're a super fun thing to paint because you really can't mess them up. So is anybody feeling any anxiety? I want to kind of squash that if anybody is. If you are, make sure you say something, okay? Or if you feel that feeling creep up where it's like, oh, I want I want it to be so perfect. I have this idea in my head of how it's going to be. Let's talk about that, right? We want to kind of push those feelings away because painting is like life, right? You never really know what's going to pop up. And you can make really, really, really super beautiful things happen. But things don't always happen the way you think they're going to happen. Often you don't have a lot of control, right? Just like life. You guys can be the artist of your life. You can create a life that you want, which is kind of what, these dream catchers represent. Freedom, it might be. Might be voice. I think I need more voice. This is these blues are good for your throat chakra. That's always been my struggle, my throat chakra. So I'm going to catch some good throat chakra communication vibes in my dream catcher. I'm liking that. All right, I'm going to bring a little bit more white into mine, and then I'm going to be finished with my first layer. But this is also a time where you can put in a little bit of extra texture too by maybe just dip one of your fingers in the white paint and then another color. So you kind of get your finger looking like this. So you guys look at that. And then you can just sort of pick a corner and just dot. You can do little things like that throughout your background. And those are like little fireflies or something, dancing around in the back, or maybe they're stars, who knows. But any kind of texture or something neat and different like that we can put into our background is really kind of fun because our dream catchers are going to go over the top of it. And then it just gets you another layer, basically, of dimension, perspective. I'm liking these little dots. I like that firefly idea. What these are going to represent for me. And then all these little fireflies are going to dance all around my dream catchers. And then they're going to go out into the world, and they're going to spread love and good vibes to everywhere they go. All right, so this is my background, I think, for this point, or at this point. How you guys doing? You want to hold yours up if you're finished? Finished with the stage, with your background stage? Yeah, good. Okay, everybody's busy painting. Oh, I see HB or Vicky there, one of the mocks. Purdy.
Karen, did you put white dots? Is
I
that what
did.
that is? White dots?
Yeah, I did. It's all I did. Here, let me show you. Just to give it a little bit of like, okay, there's something else going on in there. I just took my palette with color here, and I took one of my fingers, and I dip it in the white. And then before I dipped it in blue, I'm going to dip it in pink this time. So see how my finger has both paints on it? The reason I have two paints on it is because it's, again, going to give our eye a little more something to look at. If I just did white, it's going to look real flat. So get white and another color. And then you just pick a little spot and oh, these are boy fireflies, and these are girl fireflies. Okay, so nobody's ever going to know that that's our fingerprints. Cool, I'm liking that. All right. So the next stage, and you guys don't have to be here yet, because I need to give myself time for this to dry too, so let's take our time here. But the next stage is putting down some hoops, putting down the hoop of our dream catcher. So just like if you were making a dream catcher, a physical dream catcher, you would need your hoop, right? So we're going to put that down. So you could give some thought to how many hoops are you going to have on your canvas. Do you want some little hoops in the background and a big hoop in the front? You know what? Or do you just want one hoop? So just give some thought to that. And with that, you get to kind of decide which way is your canvas going to hang. So this would be a landscape hanging, and this would be a portrait hanging. So just figuring out which direction you want it to go. Typically with dream catchers, they look better when you, I think, this is my opinion, they look better when you put it in a portrait because it gives you more space for those ribbons to flow. If you do choose to go a landscape, I would say just, don't make giant hoops maybe because you want to have some room in there. Okay, give some thought to that. And the way that I typically will make my hoops is I'll just take like a bowl or a cup and just lightly trace that. So this evening, what do I want to do? Let's see here. I think I need a bowl. I'm going to be right back. I need something a little bigger than what I've got. Yeah, one sec. So I just grabbed a bowl because I didn't have anything big enough. So I think what I'm going to do is put one here. And all I'm going to do is grab one of my paint pens, or just want to make sure it's going to be something that comes off actually. So this sew does not have to be perfect in any way. It just gives us kind of a good pattern to follow as far as the circle goes. That's a nice round circle. If you want a round circle, you might not want a round circle. That's all good. So that's going to be my main larger one. I might want to put another small one down here. So I think, let's see, I'm going to use just a lid to one of my paints. I'm going to do a little one like this. That's definitely a little baby one, but I'll put him down here. Oftentimes within art, your eye is happy when, if we're looking at items, like we're going to be looking at dream catchers, if you have an odd number of things, so rather than having 2 dream catchers, your eye might be happier looking at 3 or 5. That's a theory, but it's one that sticks in my head often, so I want to have 3 on mine. This is your choice. You get to figure that out. Where do you want to put your hoops? Okay, I'll find another bigger, oh, I know what I'll use. use my color wheel. So that's a nice, nice size circle. And then another thing, do you see how I put this one circle, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not completely on the canvas. And that makes our eye happy as well. I think I'm going to make these two overlap. All right. So I'm going to go with those 3 dream catchers. How's everybody doing so far? Good, good. Okay. Any questions? You guys just speak up, okay? All right, so after we get our hoops down, then the next thing you get to do is figuring out what kind of thread pattern do you want to go within your hoops. So you could either sketch that out first if you want to, or you could just grab your paint and start painting that. It's artist's choice, whatever you're more comfortable with. I'm going to grab my paint and do it that way because I'm a little bit worried you can't see that black on here very well, and I want you guys to be able to see. All right, and here's another artist tip. When you're using black, it's always nice to mix black with a little bit of another darker color. So I'm going to probably mix mine with this blue because I have it here on my palette. But you could also mix the black with a little bit of magenta. You know, not tons, just a little bit, but it makes our eye really happy. And it doesn't look so flat. If you just do plain black, it does look kind of flat. It looks fancier when you put a little bit of color in there. All right, so for this part, I'm going to be using an angled brush. And really, whatever brush you use at this point, you just want to make sure it's something that you're comfortable with in terms of painting some straight lines. So I'm going to just put my black here to keep my hoop going. So pretty easy. And I'm going to wrap this around the corners so that it looks nice and done. Show you guys that. Okay, so see how the hoop kind of goes around the corner? That gives it more of a finished look as well. Okay. That's so much better. I just changed the view. Oh, and now I can see everybody. Hi. Yay, 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 yay. Yay. Okay, great. So another hoop. Now, hoops are in all different sizes, you know, but do I want this hoop to be the same size as that hoop, or do I want to use a smaller brush? I think on my baby hoop, I definitely want to use a smaller brush. I'm going to do that one first. Use a little baby brush for the baby hoop. Got my black and my blue. Because really, you can't even tell by looking at that, right? Oops. Now, if you were watching this video and you don't have paint at home, that's okay. You can do all of this with colored pencils or with chalk. It's just a matter of layering colors and shapes. So do whatever, even if you have crayons. So see how that's just a little bit of a smaller outside hoop than the big one? It just gives it a little bit of a difference. I'm going to use that other, I think the Papa hoop and the Mama hoop, I'm going to use the same brush for. So my little firefly fingerprints are not fully dry yet, which is totally fine. But if I were to, you know, drag my brush through it like that, and it smears, and that just adds to the beauty of everything. So it's all good. It's just more color blending. Oh, you just want to get some nice sturdy hoops in. And then once you get those hoops in, then we get to decide what design you want to do. Ooh, look at the mama hoop turned out to be fatter than the daddy hoop. Isn't that just like the story of our lives, huh? That's the way it works. All right, so I'm going to use this larger hoop to show you guys how I traditionally would make if I had a hoop and if I had twine, this is how I would anchor my strings. That's kind of the easiest way to do it, I think. So this will help though in terms of figuring out what to do with your lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is start, I'm going to start right here at high noon. I'm going to make a little dot. And then I'll make one at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And then I'll fill in the middle. I'm just doing these to be somewhat spaced evenly, but if they're not spaced evenly, it's okay. It totally doesn't matter. Okay, so those are our little anchor spots. So what I'm going to do is go from this spot, from noon to, what is that, like 1 o'clock. Because if I had my string, I would wrap it around there, and then I would pull it really tight to there. And then I would wrap it right around there. Then I'd wrap, and then I would take it and go down to this next one. Is that pretty clear, you guys? And you so don't have to make your dream catcher like this, but it is a good kind of visual lesson on how these strings are kind of anchored into the hoop. But in doing it this way, it forces you to not be perfect. And longer leash. We want to, yeah, just have fun with this. I'm not really worried about like, oh my gosh, it's not totally even. The ones that you see, I mean, you can make them like that, right? It's an art for sure. But the ones in the stores, the dream catchers often that you see that are, you know, super precise, often are manufactured. The ones that you see that are a little bit wabi-sabi, you know, that aren't so perfect, those are the handmade good ones. All right, so now we've got these little things. So we basically are working our threads from the outside of our hoop, or the inner part of our hoop, right, this outer edge, and we are working inward. So as an anchor, I'm just going to put a dot kind of right in between. Oops, that's off center, that's okay. But kind of keeping this in a circle, right? So I'm just putting little anchor dots here, here, and there. Okay, so that kind of works. See how this goes. So this anchor dot, I'm going to take this down to this corner, and then this goes down to this. What happens here? This goes down to this anchor spot. And then from that dot, we go to this anchor spot. How you guys doing out there? Everybody doing okay? Okay. And don't forget our intention and our purpose for doing this, right? What are the things that you wrote down underneath? Ooh, I'm stuck down here. What are those things that you wrote down? You know, your intention. What are the dreams that you want to bring in? Okay, so this way. Okay, I'm going a little wonky here. That is okay. Where does that go? Oh no. We're just gonna do that. I messed something up. Oh, there's what I did. Neat. Neat. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't know. But that's okay. I'm just gonna put this little wonky guy in here. I'm not gonna worry about it. All right. And then basically I want to meet these guys in the middle. Everybody's pattern might be a little bit different. You could do anything here. You could do lots of crisscrosses. If you have stencils, this is a really great time to draw, bring out some stencils, and especially if they're round, mandala-esque. That's always really fun to do. This one that I'm doing tonight is definitely going to look like one of those handmade guys. Ooh, got wonky again. This is the wonky corner over here. Like the little star it's making now. Let's see, and I guess we'll make them all tie in right here to the center. All right, I like it. So I'm going to move on to my next one and figure out what's going to go in there. Or I could put my ribbons on if I want to. I'm feeling like I want to fill in my hoops. Questions?
Nope. I don't know.
Okay. This guy, I'm just going to kind of go a little ziggy-zaggy. Whatever kind of net, you basically just have to have something going back and forth, right? To be that little net that catches those dreams. I like that the little guy's kind of spazzy. Am I going too fast or too slow for anybody? Everybody's good? I hope you didn't see me just miss my face. Oh my goodness. All right. I saw that thumbs up. Thanks, HB. All right, I'm going to put in my other hoop, and I don't know what I want to do. What I'm going to do, let's start here. I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe I do. I'm just going to go like this. See what happens. It doesn't matter. You just, as long as we're making some kind of pattern, right? That's what we're going for. Okay, like that. No. It's okay. Ooh, this is going to end up looking like a person, maybe. That's kind of cool. Very interesting. What am I missing? Is that? Kind of looks like a flower, a pointy flower, or a spazzy star. I like it. I'm just going to make these little guys all join in the middle. And I think that's okay. I don't think I want to add anything to this guy. It's kind of simple. So once you get your shapes in here, you know, your nets, your symbols, then you can start putting in your ribbons. And you just continue to use your black if you want to, just to kind of we're putting in the bones, basically, of our dream catchers. And so we can do more highlighting and embellishments, but we need to put the ribbons in first, so then we can put the embellishments on the ribbon or into our nets. All right. So when putting in the ribbons or the strings, just kind of give thought to, you know, where you might want to hook it so that it hangs nicely. And then you just let it go. And one of the tips that I like to give people is as you're dragging your brush down, try to twist. Let's go back, twist this way, twist that way, twist this way, twist that way. So watch, I'm going to pull on this ribbon now, and I'm going to twist like that. So I'm going to anchor my ribbon, and I'm just going to lightly twist. I'm not giving any real thought to anything other than just twisting. Twist, twist. And look what that does. Kind of cool. So put in your ribbons. Some might be longer. Maybe shorter, all different kinds of things. Because really, dream catchers, you can hang anything. I always like to use the earrings that I lose the mates to. I save those and I hang dream catcher or earrings from my dream catchers that I make. So, you know, you can do feathers, you can do jewels, you can do earrings. You can do anything. And look, I'm going to cross over here. It's okay to cross over one another. All right, so I kind of like that guy. I want to leave some space on mine. I'm not going to put any more ribbons on because I want to be able to maybe put some little words on here later when I'm finished. I think I might want to put a little bit of writing on my ribbon, saying some nice prayers or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So I want to leave some room for that. But you might have, like, you know, ribbons that just are piled in there and look like dreadlocks. You know, so you do what you want to do. I'm going to put my ribbons on the other guys. And then I'll embellish. Now, what if it was really windy? Maybe my little ribbons wouldn't even be going down. Maybe they might be going sideways. Now look at this guy. He's going over that guy, which might seem weird in our brain, but it's okay. And what I should have done is started with the guy in the back. So I'm going to stop myself and give him some ribbons first. And I'm going to make him a little bit smaller because he's a smaller guy. And the little ribbons are going to be a little, I want to make his a little more spazzy too. Go off the canvas a little bit, give you a little bit of wonder. And sometimes it's really fun to, when you're done with your dream catcher, you can put stuff on it. It's kind of fun, like rhinestones or embellishments. And sometimes the ribbons get like tied to the same spot. Like maybe 3 get tied in the same spot on the hoop. Not always just one. These kind of look like jellyfish a little bit. Like that. Until I've got more blue on my brush right now than I do black, which is fine. I'll try to even those out. Okay, how you guys doing? Any questions? Everybody's good? Okay. Yeah, I want my dream catcher to be all about bringing in beauty and change. Kind of putting a second layer on here, you guys, just to kind of sharpen it up a little bit. Beauty and, just change, and I want to bring in harmony and love and equality. Definitely peace, a sense of tranquility, and knowing that everything's going to be just fine. I also want to paint in clarity of my mind, my thoughts, so that when I get to those places that might make me spaz out a little bit or feel some anxiety, that I have clarity in those moments, and that I can just kind of stop myself and deal with that moment, right? Move moment by moment and not get sucked into panic. That's what this dream catcher is going to help me with. Which is perfect for, see how wonky it is over here? Something definitely went screwy, which is in real life something that would be one of my triggers. That would make me be like, oh, everything's wrong. Oh no, panic, panic. So I feel like, it's a lesson. It's a sign. I see it, I hear it, receive it. It's acknowledged. So, and you see how what we've got are all these little shapes now, right? If you wanted, you could start painting in those shapes if you wanted to, or shading those in if you wanted to. And you don't have to. I'm choosing not to. I'm just going to leave mine kind of like this because I want to pay attention to some feathers and stuff down here. Grab my phone that dropped. Hi, Momo. And we're only halfway through the lesson. It's 7 o'clock, so we are super, super great on time. I was going to show you guys. This is a, let's see, it's the full moon. We're going to do a full moon drum and paint. It's mostly paint, which is August 3rd. And that's a free event, but we're going to be making these little moon paintings. These pretty little chunky guys that you can go on your desk, and they're just super pretty. Those little craters in there. Super fun. So that's August 3rd, if you guys are interested. Okie dokie, I'm going to put in some feathers. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to use white for the most part to put in my feathers. because that's kind of laying down the foundation of my feather. And then I can add color to that as I build it. But we've got a lot of color going on here. So, you know, if I were to make my feathers black right now, I might lose these ribbons, and I might get mixed up in my head, like what's a ribbon and what's a feather. So keeping the feathers white right now or a light color is often helpful. I'm going to use this just as a teaching moment as well, you guys. So my white, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. So it's the same thing that we did with the black. I added a little bit of that navy blue to it. So on this one, I'm just going to add a smidge of yellow into my white paint. And that's just going to make my white look a little bit happier and sunnier. And I can use pure white later at the end. We can doctor things up with pure black and white. All right, so now I just have to decide, where do I want my feathers to come from? So typically you would just tie your feathers onto these ribbons. So with wire or string or whatever. So I'm going to put one right here. So that's the stem of that does not show up very well, does it? That's the stem of my feather. I'll put more white in here for you guys. And then I'm just going to make it go downward. Okay, so that's my general shape. Feeling very much like that's not showing up well. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. So just put your feathers in wherever you feel like you might want them. And you're going to probably get to the point where your feathers are going to start overlapping. Like I'm going to make this feather go over that ribbon. So we can't keep everything super orderly at this stage. Again, lessons to be learned there. We're just going to kind of put in the bones of our feathers. And they might be different sizes. They might be different shapes. And this one I'm going to make go off the canvas. And I might want to put some beads in here. A little bead right there. Sometimes the beads go right by where the stems are on the feathers. Like you'll put the bead on and then you stick the feather into the bead hole. And now I'm starting to think when once I get these feathers in, what colors do I want my feathers to be? I'm not sure yet. And think about when you pick up a feather, some of them are all like scruffy and fuzzy and wonky, and some of them are really super sharp and pristine. They're different shapes and sizes, but they pretty much never, ever, ever look exactly the same. You know, if you ever got to just go and pick up a bunch that looked super identical, that would be rare, right? Put little beads on here. A little bead in here. Use use my smaller brush down with these other feathers because I want these feathers to be a little bit smaller so that they don't completely take over. So feathers, when you're doing them, it's kind of like they're reflective. One, you know, the sides reflect each other. So you put your little stem down, and this one goes that way, and this does the mirror image of it. Mirror image, so back and forth, and then it has a point. Because sometimes my brain cramps up with it, like shapes and things, and I look at it, and then I'll paint the opposite of what it actually is. So I think sometimes, you know, if you get stuck with a shape like that with feathers, just remember they mirror each other, each side. So I'm going to put a jewel or a bead right in the middle of my mama star here. Like that. Make that a different color when I'm ready though. But, so we're really just making sure we get all the feathers in where we want them to be. And then once we have them all spaced and everybody's happy and you feel like, okay, those are all the feathers I want, then you get to start kind of coloring them in, and that's really fun. And it's also a time that we get to put maybe a little bit more paint on our brush, maybe a lot of paint on your brush, and put a big blob in a feather maybe and let it dry and have a whole bunch of texture when you're finished. I think these little curly feathers sometimes too are nice. Sometimes when I am just kind of sitting around and doodling, or sometimes I'm artistically stuck, just doodling feathers is helpful to me. I like to do swirls and I like to do feathers. I could just like fill a notebook page of just feather after feather after feather after feather. It's nice. If you're ever painting palm trees, you can just make them all full of feathers and they're going to look really great. It's the same kind of shape. All right, I think I'm going to put another feather up here, coming down a little bit. I want it to look balanced, but not, I don't want it to look too crazy. One more right there. A lot of crisscrossing. Your feathers are crossing over your ribbons. You might want to put some more ribbons crossing over your feathers. All right, and then when you get to that place where it's like, okay, I'm kind of liking that, then you can really start putting the color into your feathers. I want a feather down here. Here. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. I also want to put a little something on here too. I'm liking that. Kind of fun sometimes to put little beads at every place where it's like, okay, these threads come together. Sometimes that's that joint where people might put a bead or a embellishment of some kind. I think I'm going to take this opportunity to put around this hoop. I'm going to just mark out somewhat evenly. Oh yeah, so this is going over that little guy. So I'll put that there. I'll put one in between each one. Just like little embellishments on here. Makes it a little bit different than the other ones. I like that. And I think I'll put some more here. All right. And I think I'm going to probably continue on with some blues, I think. Some blues and pinks. I think I'm going to maybe kind of use the same colors, but and my thought is if I mix some yellow in there with these, they're going to turn a little bit green potentially. I might bring in some purple. No real rules here. The only thing to really look out for is if your thing, you know, if your paint starts to get like a muddy color, wash your brush off, you know. And if things go sideways, you just paint it white again and start over a clean slate. Clean slate of a feather. Let's see. Yeah, I can already tell I need to bring something not the same colors in. I was kind of wanting to do that, but it's going to get lost. So I need to bring in something different than my background colors. So the yellow actually is nice because it makes it pop. Another option with the colors that I have going on here would be orange, purple, a little bit of purple maybe. Yeah, so that's kind of maybe even some greens. But I need it to pop off of here. Because you see how I just started to put this pink down on here and it's like, whoop, already you can see it's just getting sucked into the background because it's basically all the same color. So you want to have poppy feathers. What colors are you guys all working with? Can you guys hold up your canvases so far? If you can't, it's okay because they might be wet, but I'd love to see. Oh, oh, so pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Oh my goodness, Joni. Joni, look at Joni's. That looks like a greeting card.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, the cards you buy in the metaphysical store. Oh my gosh, Joni, you should just stop now. Yeah, you got it going on. Oh, that's so pretty. You guys, see, it's like awesome, right? I mean, it looks so different, but they're different, but they're the same. Yeah, I'm liking that yellow. I think I'll do yellow and orange. If anybody has any questions about anything at this stage, you guys just speak up. Or even if you just want to share anything, go for it.
I'm curious what Kaylin is up to because she's on a different project.
Oh, well, Kaylin, if you can hear us, would you like to share what you're working on? And absolutely no pressure, you don't have to. I love that this is, you know, like you can come to this and not even have to paint along with us if you don't want to. You can just do what you want to do what you're
I
working
had
on.
enough supplies. We just spoke about it this morning. So
Uh-huh.
when she said she'll do ceramic, I thought that's what she wanted to do. I didn't know. If it's because, I don't know if it's because of not having supplies because I have plenty here. We live close by too. It was such
Gotcha.
a rush thing in the morning
Yeah.
when we talked about it.
Well, that's all good. So I like the way this orange pops with, let's see if I can turn this light on here. There we go. I like the way, where did I lost it? This orange pops with that blue purple in the background. And your beads and your embellishments or your little ties and things, you know, just you can use whatever colors speak to you. And really this is where it gets to be fun to, let me show you here, like I'll take this feather and you can really just put some good globs of paint in there and just like let it dry so you get some good texture. Kind of fun. Just play around with that color. Lots of little layers. That's kind of the key to having an interesting painting, a finished looking painting, is to have lots of layers. I think, you know, sometimes I think, okay, let's paint a hippopotamus. And it's not just, you know, you don't just draw the hippopotamus and paint in the color. I mean, you can, but that's going to, you know, it's going to look real flat. So it's fun to just put layers and layers into your paintings, and they get to be more and more interesting. And almost like more dynamic, I guess you could say. You guys have plenty of time. The feathers and these little beads that we're putting in are kind of almost our last step, and then I'll show you the finishing steps here in just a minute. But I think I want to change up some of my bead colors because I want to. Let's see, what do I want to put in there? Maybe red. Wouldn't that be kind of unexpected? Maybe red and turquoise. That's nice. Okay, and the other beads. Put some. Add a little bit more white to that so it's easier to see. And these are all kind of globby right now, and they will be when they're dry too, but that's kind of cool. Put red right in the middle, I think. And then a little bit of white. I like that. All right, so with these feathers, hopefully they're mostly dry now. Well, they're not going to be mostly dry, but some of them. Because we can put on to our canvas now just some little specks of white and black. And if you have paint pens, they come in super, super handy at this stage. I'm going to demonstrate first with the paint pen, and then I'll show you if you don't have the paint pens, I'll show you how to do the same kind of thing with a small brush. So really we've got, you know, this is looking pretty good. But if you look at these feathers, they need a little bit of salt and pepper. They need some black and white bits in there. So those are still pretty wet. So here, I'm going to show you the same kind of technique on, where's my thingy? All right, I'll show you the same kind of technique on here. You can see. So I just have a little paint pen, and say this is like right here is this stem. I'm going to just kind of make a curly Q. Like that. Can you see that? A little bit of a wire or a ribbon in there. And then on these feathers, you know, adding a little bit of black here and there. I shouldn't be doing this because my painting's not done, but I want to show you guys what I'm talking about adding the black. I'll make it look a little bit easier for you. Here. Use a white pen and do this. All right, let's put a little doodad here on this guy. To do that, you could put, where else would we want to doodad? These guys look like they need to be tied on. Down here, you might be able to see it a little bit easier. And then those might have a little bit of a string coming off of them too. Okay, so you can do that wherever you feel like it works. You can do it white or black. And that's kind of the beauty of the paint pen, having that ability to do that. But if you don't have a paint pen, you can always just use your paint and just use like one of the little tiny, like really fine brushes that will make just a little fine line, same kind of thing. And it's a good thing to do. Like these feathers are still wet. So I want to put in this black to show really what it is, right? Because we need to show some kind of defined shape. Otherwise, it might just look like a bunch of, you know, shapes all kind of pulled together. And you don't have to completely outline it, you know, but just giving it a little bit of shading, I guess, you know, and that dark color in there is going to make it pop and make it a little bit more identifiable. And then we can do the same thing down here too with white. We can always just put a little bit of white in. We don't have to be perfect. We're just kind of showing motion in a sense. Okay, so you see how that it doesn't look so flat anymore because we're giving it some shape. Now I'm going to do the same kind of thing with the white paint. So just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And again, you can do this with your paint or with your paint pens. Or even Sharpie. You know, Sharpies are great actually. For that, if your paint is dry, you know, black Sharpie does wonders. Okay, so let's do a little bit of all right. You just kind of keep doing, you know, layers like this until you are happy with it. Like at this point, I could probably bring in a little bit of pink and put the pink feather in here now. It's not going to get so lost. pink into some of these other feathers. White. And again, don't worry, play around with texture here. Kind of fun. How are you guys doing? Depending on the size of your canvas, you may be very, very close to being finished.
I think I'm almost done. I will be right back, ShamaMama.
Okie dokie. I want to see yours when it's done, okay?
It's done. You want to see?
Yeah.
Do you want to wait for the others?
Yeah, no, we're all going to end at different times. So share. Yeah, definitely. And do you mind sharing what dreams you might like to catch with your dream catcher?
Oh, when we were meditating earlier, I thought of joy, peace, and love.
Beautiful.
And I wrote them on the outside of this, and I needed a fourth word, so I added what you shared earlier, which was equality.
Oh, beautiful. Yay!
We really need that now, whether it's gender or sexual orientation or race.
Everything.
Something that we need to understand beyond love, joy, and peace.
Yes, absolutely.
So
and
gosh,
it's so pretty.
It's shimmery. If you
it
see
is.
light,
Look at that.
Shimmery.
It looks like a sand dollar a little bit to me.
I just went with it. I couldn't get the mesh perfectly all right within the paint, but I'm going to touch it up with pen later.
Absolutely.
And then so it's kind of muted on the inside, but if you see the sides, it's pretty bright.
Yeah, that's so pretty.
It talks about love. It's on the inverse for you guys. Equality, peace, and joy.
Love, love, love.
Thank you so much.
I love it. It makes me think of the Beatles a little bit too. Like it makes me think of the Beatles, the band. Like it's like something they would sing about.
That's what came to mind. And I use the turquoise as little fake beads.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Just stayed with I started off with the color theme you suggested, but then it just came.
Yeah, I'm sure we all went rogue, right?
And the one in the background, it's a pink, blue, and buff white cloudy background. It's hard to see here, but it's shimmery. I like that it's shiny.
I do too, like you.
Oh, thank you.
Is anybody else at a stage where they can share yet?
I'll be right back, ShamaMama.
Okay, Krishna. Yeah.
So I had a very hard time with this one.
That's okay.
First of all, the paint wasn't gliding.
Okay.
The paint wasn't gliding. It felt really dry. I don't know if it's the canvas. And so then I applied this all over the canvas first.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then the paint wasn't drying.
Yeah, it's probably going to take a while to dry now because that's like a long lasting.
And so when you started doing the dream catchers, I started to do it and it kept bleeding. And so then I erased everything. I wiped everything down. Down. So now you could only see my words, but
that's a beautiful background.
And start all over again.
Yeah, just keep going. That's a perfect example of, something might go sideways or something might happen where you're like, oh gosh, now I have to let it dry and then come back to it. Or you might want to wipe something off. But that's really beautiful what you have going on, because it's very cloudy and misty, and you can still see those words. So yeah, just they're like, yeah, wiping things down can be a good tool, right? It just gives you different textures. Oh, good Lord, Joni.
Wow.
Seriously.
Dang.
All right. Okay, Joni, do you want to just paint, like teach the class? I want to switch our paintings. Wow, that's so great. It looks, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Joni, what were you trying to capture here? Because whatever dreams you put in there, they're so getting caught. Look how powerful that is. That's something, you know what, you could take pictures of that and make it into stationery cards. No joke, that's just so pretty.
I was trying to catch immunity.
Immunity.
Oh,
Oh, I love it. Well, that's going to be good. That's like powerful. Are you happy with that?
yep.
Yeah, so pretty. Good job, Joni. Yeah, good job. I love it. I would just probably stop right there and call her done. Yeah. Would anybody else like to share?
Oh, I've been trying to figure out how to play with not ceramics, but cement. So I have failed a few projects from earlier today. But this is what I ended up on is hopefully this will be a candle holder. Or
Oh, beautiful. Now what, so that's clay. And are you painting or coloring the clay?
I've been sticking some beads in, but I don't know if I'm going to do anything to it after it's done except for maybe shape it.
Fun. That's super fun. Where did you find the clay?
So it's I'm blanking. It's mortar. It's mortar mix for like bricks.
Okay.
And if you mix it in like a little drier ratio, then it could work like clay.
Oh my
I've not gotten that
gosh.
Yeah.
I am all over that. Yeah.
I started growing lotuses, and I need to make a little outdoor pond for them. So.
Oh yeah, I saw the seed sprouting.
So excited about this.
Yay.
That's what the ceramic is for, making your own pots. Look at that.
Yeah, that's really neat. Thank you for sharing that. That's it's definitely inspirational.
Thank you for having me. You're fantastic.
Yes, of course. You're welcome anytime. Of course, of course. Yeah, thank you so much, Kaylin.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, likewise, likewise. HB, I saw you wanted to share. Now that you have your mouth full. It's okay. I'm going to wait for you to chew. I'm going to take some tea. We're going to take a good 10 seconds here. I'm going to pass it on. All right, who else wants to share? And there's no pressure. No? Ella, do you want to share?
I'll share in a bit, but mine's not quite done yet.
Okay. No problemo. Take your time. And, oh, is that Sasha? I can't see all of you.
Oscar,
Hi, Austin.
she's chewing too.
So
Okay,
I
good.
started off with like a galaxy thing, and then I didn't feel like doing a dream catcher, so I did the moon and Neptune, which aren't near each other at all. But I like the blue, so
Yeah, that's pretty.
yeah, I like it.
You'll do, yeah, you'll do something good with that. Nice. See,
Thank
that's
Karen.
Oh, you're so welcome. Was that Vicky?
Yes. You're
Okay.
amazing. I'm right here. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah. Do you want to share what you did?
well, sure.
You know, Ooh,
Yeah.
that's really great.
It
I
looks.
love the colors.
It's a lot like yours.
Yeah, it's very similar to Karen's.
I likey. They look like little bee feathers hanging from it.
That is how I paint. I just follow Karen.
At least one person did it. We all went off on our own.
Yeah, no, it's all good. That's kind of the whole point, right? Cool. Well, we will definitely stay on, and I'll continue to touch my painting up so that we can finish out. But you're welcome to stay, and you're welcome to log off, whatever you want to do. It's all good. And Emily, I know we didn't check in with you, but if you are available and want to share, you just pipe in, okay? Okay, Vicki, you make me want to paint a turtle next. It's that turtle in the back I want to paint. Okay, so you guys look at that turtle in the back of Vicki. So really, we could do the same background that we just did. Do all those pretty colors, and then just paint a black turtle, like the outline of a turtle. With those little, you know, fingerprint bubbles going on. That would just be so pretty. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for being here, Mock family. You guys rock. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. You guys are very welcome. So I'm gonna put on some more ties on mine while we're still here. So these little twisty tie things that I put on here before, sometimes I like to just put them up here as well. Here and there, like it looks like this maybe had a little bit of a repair or something. Like little embellishments wherever you want. It's fun sometimes to bring in glitter or bring in as I say, glitter or rhinestones. A lot of times, you know, you can take paper, you know, and rip up some paper and kind of paste that into it, make it kind of a mixed media kind of a thing. I have some of those around here. I don't know where they are, but they're kind of fun. So you can add lots of different textures and lots of different things into your paintings. It works out nicely.
ShamaMama, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a previous painting project that I'm almost done with, but I need to add rays of light emanating from the head. And I don't know how to do that, and I can show you really quick.
Yeah, show me.
It came to me in a vision.
Ooh, did you paint that?
Yes, it came to me in a vision, and it has something to do with a past life, so someone else confirmed it too. But the idea is there's a ruby here on the crown of her head that's emanating, radiating light. I don't know how to do that.
Right, right. Okay, a good thing to use is not a heavy body paint. So just like a cheap paint, you know, like artist level paint, probably what you have, right, in your set.
Mm-hmm.
So that's perfect. And then let me find something to show. I'll demonstrate. Let me get a canvas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can do it offline too if this is gonna be too much for the class.
You guys are all good without having to look at my painting, right? So, let's say, that's a beautiful painting, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And here's your beautiful woman. There's a little ruby there. So I know your canvas is gray right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What you can do is take kind of a brush that's not kind of like this, you know, so it's not too sturdy, but it's flexible, you know. Yeah. And then just taking a little bit of yellow or whatever color you want to use, and not putting tons of yellow on, and then just kind of lightly, lightly, you know, go around. And this may mean that you're going to have to do a little bit of overlapping over your lady once you get the yellow around the back of her head. Otherwise, it might look too much like, you know, the it's like outlined. You know what I mean?
Right. But it's a ruby glow, reddish ruby.
Oh, reddish glow. Well, let's just switch over to red. So the key is to get some red on your brush and then really wipe it off a bit so that you have a fairly dry brush.
Okay.
Okay. And that might even be a little bit too wet. So really, really dry.
Okay.
And then you almost just like dust it in. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Yes.
Or am I
Like a
understanding?
luminescence, like emanating light.
Yes.
I didn't know if I had to mix in colors or shade it.
You can do, you can do whatever you want. Typically with something like this, you know, by her head here, might be a little bit darker, and then it might, you know,
that makes sense.
kind of emanate out with the yellow kind of a thing, you know. But you can mix and match, but really that's getting a little bit muddy there, but it's,
Do I mix in white?
you can for sure. You do a little bit of that too, so you can see. And that's going to give you some depth. See what happens? It almost gets like a little bit of magenta in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. So see that magenta kind of thing happening. And then, again, this is very, very wet. And then you got that magenta, so then you can bring in that red again. A little bit on top of the magenta. See how that kind of makes it glow?
What are you adding?
Just the red back on top of the magenta.
Okay.
And the only way I got the magenta was by adding a little bit of white to the red. So just playing with red and white, red and white, red and white.
Got it.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, and not using too much paint. That's the whole thing.
Awesome.
Almost like you're putting eyeshadow on the on there. Yeah, I hope that helps you.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of it because, you know, you can always just keep painting until you get it right. It's all good.
Okay, thank you so
And
much.
I love that you saw that in a vision and that you're painting and that's so.
It was through a shamanic drum journey.
Yeah.
And it was a full vision. And then I just sketched it at first. And I had it as a picture. And then we did another session. This is Brian. I might have mentioned him to you.
Oh, yes, I know Brian.
And we did another session where it was past life readings. This random girl walks in and we're supposed to pick partners. She picks me. And I'm like, why me? I have no whatever affinity to her. And then it turns out she and her had a past life, many past lifetimes, but in one of them was this image. And she described it and they talked about it. And at the end of the session, I went to her, I showed her the image and I said, does this look familiar? And she said, that's exactly how I saw you when I walked in.
Wow, that's so cool. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's important to me, but it's also like I don't want to mess it up. I saw what I wanted to create, but I was stumbling. And it's in my mind, I also told myself, it will come when I'm ready. It was almost like when I'm ready to paint the ruby glow is when I'm ready to glow. When I'm coming in to my, how do you say, coming into yourself.
Yeah, your transformation or your,
that self, the queen self, that is goddess queen self, that is.
Yes, I love that.
Thank you.
Will you please keep me posted? I would love to see how that turns out. It's beautiful.
It's got bedazzled.
So sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, look at the bedazzles. Oh, so pretty. You guys, that's so awesome. And Krishna, I was just saying to keep me posted. I'd love to see your painting when it's finished.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for guiding me.
Appreciate
you're
it. So welcome.
I needed your blessing. Final blessing to finish that. Oh,
Yes, go, go, go. Be the ruby light and shine on.
so much.
You're so welcome. And Ella, how are you doing? Are you finished?
Yeah,
Yeah, do you want to share?
sure.
Great. Oh my gosh, you mastered the feathers for sure. Look at
Oh,
that.
it's beautiful. Nice colors.
And you're layering. See how she layered her feathers? Kind of that one that's in the forefront. It goes over those back ones.
Mhm.
Beautiful. I'm also seeing a little sand dollar action in yours too. Or maybe I just have
Yeah.
sand dollars on the mind.
Yeah.
Each trip.
Beautiful. What I know. What were the dreams that you were hoping to catch, Ella?
Mostly like joy and peace for myself.
Oh, good.
I suffer from a lot of mental illness, and the whole quarantine thing has definitely brought me down even more. So I'm trying to bring some happiness into my life.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I suffer from mental illness as well. So I understand where you're coming from, and I know sometimes it's some days are easier than others, right? But knowing what brings you peace and what is good for you and what brings you balance, that's the way to do it. So good for you for doing that. Yeah. You rock on, wise one. And Joni, I just had a question about your painting. What were you thinking when you painted that big circle behind in your background? Were you thinking like of the universe, or what were you thinking?
I was hearing the wind all up. It was just wind.
Okay. You just went with it.
So that I could catch it.
Yeah. It's really beautiful.
It's supposed to be like a vortex.
It looks like it is, for sure. So you've got the dream catcher and the vortex. That's like some powerful stuff. I love it. Love it, love it. And Emily, one last call. Do you want to share? She may not be listening at this moment, or she may be so deep into her painting she's not hearing us.
She said she had a lot of technical difficulties online.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah, the chat. See, I'm so like ADD. I'm like, oh, yeah, the chat room. Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of technical difficulties lately, so it's all good. All good. So, hi, Emily. Yay, yay, yay. So glad you were here, honey. All right, guys. Any questions or anything? Any last bit of sharing before we say goodbye?
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Perfect end to the work week. I just started working. It's my second week.
Yay!
5 years of refusing corporate. Remember we shared this?
I do.
Finally went back and
You're back.
stepping back in.
Okay. Well, step in slowly and ease your way in. And remember, we were just saying, that balance. Keep yourself balanced, your mind, your body, your spirit, all of it.
Absolutely.
So feed yourself first.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you guys, you can paint as many dream catchers as you want to. It's almost like a way of manifesting, even if you're just doodling while you're talking on the phone or having a thought or journaling. Don't stop with the dream catchers, right? Because if you're putting down the intention and you're putting your dreams out there, that's how you catch them. It literally manifests your dreams. So whatever you put out there is going to come back to you. Be ready to catch it. All right. Okay, you guys are all rock stars.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tons of love to you all. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
PayPal is okay?
What's that, honey?
PayPal is okay, right?
Oh, PayPal's fine. Yes, I'm on PayPal and Venmo if you'd like to send me a tip for the tip jar, but it's absolutely not expected. Okay, because this is
I
a
got
free
my
event.
first paycheck today. I can share a little bit.
No, you're so sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, Karen?
What's that?
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you can tip me with a loaf of bread. How about that? Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna log off, guy. Ooh, I like your hair marking. Hi, kitty. Who are you?
This is Winchester.
Winchester Cathedral. Kitty, kitty. What a cutie pie. All right, Winchester, you be good. Tell your mama she's a rock star painter. Super proud of you, Joni. That's like crazy. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye, Emily.